In the decades following the Civil War, the United States underwent a transformation unlike anything it had experienced before. The nation shifted from a largely rural society of small farms and workshops into an industrial powerhouse dominated by massive corporations. This change brought wealth, innovation, and global influence, but it also allowed big business to take control of America's economy, politics, and social life. The roots of this takeover lay in industrialization. New technologies such as steam power, electricity, and mass production revolutionized manufacturing. Railroads connected distant regions, making it possible to move raw materials and finished goods across the country. Entrepreneurs who could master these systems gained enormous advantages. Men like Andrew Carnegie in steel, John D. Rockefeller in oil, and Cornelius Vanderbilt in railroads built empires that dwarfed anything that came before. These industrial leaders did not rise through competition alone. They used aggressive and often ruthless strategies to eliminate rivals. Standard Oil is the most famous example. By securing secret railroad discounts and buying out competitors, Standard Oil controlled nearly the entire oil refining industry. Prices were not set by fair markets, but by corporate power. Smaller businesses were forced to sell or be crushed. As corporations grew, wealth concentrated at the top. A small group of industrialists accumulated fortunes greater than those of entire states. Meanwhile, millions of workers faced long hours, low wages, and dangerous conditions. Factories were crowded and unsafe. Child labor was common. For many Americans, the promise of opportunity felt increasingly hollow. Workers responded by organizing. Labor unions demanded fair pay, safer workplaces, and reasonable hours. But big business resisted fiercely. Strikes were broken by police, private security forces, and sometimes federal troops. Events like the Homestead Strike and the Pullman Strike revealed how closely corporations and government power were aligned. When profits were threatened, the state often intervened on behalf of business. Public influence soon followed economic power. Corporations funded political campaigns and lobbied lawmakers to shape legislation. Many politicians relied on business interests for support, while regulators often came from the industries they were meant to oversee. This revolving door weakened oversight and allowed corporate power to grow unchecked. Railroads again offer a clear example. They controlled transportation, deciding which towns prospered and which collapsed. Farmers depended on rail access, but were charged high fees that pushed many into debt. Though public outrage led to calls for reform, meaningful regulation came slowly and faced constant resistance from powerful interests. Public opinion began to shift at the turn of the 20th century. Journalists known as muckrakers exposed corruption, unsafe working conditions, and corporate abuse. Writers like Ida Tarbell detailed the inner workings of monopolies, helping Americans understand how deeply big business controlled the system. These revelations fueled the progressive era. Reformers pushed for antitrust laws, labor protections, and consumer safety regulations. The Sherman Antitrust Act and later the Clayton Act sought to break up monopolies. Presidents like Theodore Roosevelt earned reputations as trustbusters, challenging the largest corporations. Yet even as some monopolies were dismantled, corporate influence adapted rather than disappeared. By the early 20th century, big business had become a permanent feature of American life. Corporations shaped not only the economy, but also culture, advertising, and consumption. Mass production standardized products and lifestyles. Americans increasingly worked for, bought from, and depended on large companies. The takeover of America by big business was not the result of a single conspiracy or moment. It was a gradual process driven by technology, profit, and political compromise. Corporations did not overthrow democracy, they reshaped it to fit their interests. Today, debates over monopolies, inequality, and corporate influence echo those of the Gilded Age. Understanding how big business took over America helps explain why these struggles persist. The story is not simply about greed or success, it is about power, and how that power continues to shape the nation's future.